Hi, this is Fran with Stampendous, and we're continuing with our Fabulous Friday Fun watercolor series. And as you can see here, these are samples that we'll be doing through the month of June. And today we'll be doing a couple of ones that you see on the board here, plus some other ones. So we're going to start with the set that has our balloons and our cupcakes. And I'll point out here, you can see later we're going to do some things with cupcakes without any candles, but look at this one with a whole bunch of candles. So let's start in by stamping, and you'll see why I designed these stamps in pieces so that you have more options of how you combine them and really get a lot more mileage out of the stamp set by having options that will give you a lot of different looks. Okay, so I'm going to start with my cupcake. We'll get this on each panel. Okay, and I made some little openings so that you can decide where you want to stamp this candle. So if you wanted only one, take a look right through the clear stamp, find an opening between the lines, and you can stamp it in. You can stamp it higher or lower. And let's go ahead and try a couple of them on here. Okay, there's 3 of them. We could have just done a single one to the side. And then this cluster was figured out all together here. And it has a place that fits where the candles fit without any masking, kind of right between the lines. And I made it to be rather forgiving, so if you get close, that'll work. Okay, I've turned my palette. Since we need some luscious chocolate browns, I need to be able to show you how I create the browns over here on this side. And if you've been following along, it's starting to get repetitious because I do the same way of creating all of these mixed colors from this simple set of 6 primaries. So let's start in with our yellows. I'll reference quickly that we had talked in an earlier video about different styles of painting, and I've done a little bit of all of these different ones. And I think more people know how to color in the lines than they do to color outside the lines. So I may go a little bit more toward a mixed media approach here and create some fun splashes of color. So I'm going to start with my yellows. A little test strip just to make sure I've got a nice, clean, pretty yellow. And I'm going to make some great big, bold brush strokes of yellow here behind our candles. We've got a real glow going here. And we'll add some gamboge into that a little bit for fun. Okay. And on this one, we'll do a little bit more of these streaks of color here coming out. I'm just starting at the candle and then kind of lifting my brush. Okay, that looks kind of fun. And again, we'll add a little bit more of the gamboge and won't take it quite as far out. Next, let's do some pink icing. So our rose is the perfect color with a bit more water to give us a nice soft pink. So we're just going to mix up these samples here. It would be too boring if I did exactly what you're looking at already. But I like to have them sitting there so that you know I have a plan. And okay, so there we got some strawberry icing. And then we want a nice chocolate brown. So I've mixed our 3 warm colors. And I just show this real quick, just so if this is the first video in the series that you're looking at, we've got 3 warm primaries and 3 cool primaries. The 3 warm are in this large compartment, and what you see is what you get. Swirl your brush around. I've created some darker browns to this side and kind of moved some of them into this pocket. You can always revive them again with a wet brush. So swirl my brush around and test it that combination, oh, we got a rich dark chocolate here. So let's do that for the icing on this one. And I'm just going to make loose brush strokes all the way around here. It's okay to leave some white. And in case we want some highlights, I might lift a little bit away with a damp brush, but it is going to dry a little bit lighter. So let's bring in a little bit more, another shade of chocolatey brown. Okay, and then on this one, let's see, I did the browns on the cupcake holder here. It gives us a lot of contrast. I'll go ahead and do that on this one as well. So here I've got more of a milk chocolate color, and then we'll get a bit of the darker on the brush. And if I darken it a little bit here on this side, that will make it seem a little bit more three-dimensional. And I'll darken it underneath this luscious overhang of icing. There we go. Let's do a blue on this cupcake holder. Let's see what's on my brush. Okay. And then if I want a deeper color, it was out of reach on the other end of my palette, so I created a spot there so that we can see it. Okay, I added more of the marine blue. A little bit of shadow up there at the top. Okay, and then might as well do a blue candle here or there. So you can really just do a free-for-all of colors on the candles. And with the light up here, you might go a little bit darker on the candle at the base. Okay, and then we'll go to our compartment here with the cool colors, a blue, yellow, and red. Will also give me some cool grays to blacks. Want it a little bit lighter and maybe a little bit more blue. Okay, so instead of this candle floating away, we're going to anchor it here with a little shadow. Okay, I'm going to mix a little bit richer green with my yellow and the phthalo blue in this compartment. Okay, so on this green, I did a light wash of green, and it's just as easy to come back now with darker polka dots on that one. And on this one with scarlet, we'll work that on top of the yellow. Okay, and we might add just another touch of that scarlet at the base of each of our little flames here. So let's do some splattering, and let's get some rose. We need a good puddle here. Use my needle tip to squirt some water. We'll get a pretty vivid shade of rose here. Do the same with scarlet and some green. Okay. Looked kind of pale. I'm intensifying my color. And I really don't want to splash it all over my palette, but my window's too small to be able to do the two of these, so we're just going to work here over the mat. So that'll give you a more festive mixed media approach, and it fits to have all the confetti with the cupcakes and the celebration. So this month we're doing a lot of things with translucency and the colors that you can kind of see through from one layer to another. And with these I did a bit of masking, and so let's talk about that. I've done a lot of them up ahead. I like to stamp on the sticky notes and use the top sticky edge up here, and I've cut so stamp right onto the sticky notes. You can get a couple of them across on your sticky notes, and then I cut at least 3 of them at a time, and they're tacky up at that top edge, which is helpful. And I cut some ahead of each of these different ones. And so let's proceed with some stamping, and you'll see how we use that to tuck one glass or jar in behind another. And when you trim them out with your scissors, you could cut kind of to the inside line if you want, and that will keep them working the best. So we're going to start with whatever is in the foreground, and we're going to stamp this to one side, and it's the same one here, so we'll stamp it again over here on this one. Okay, and then you can see how stamping from there onto the sticky notes will let you create a mask. And so now I usually take the one from the back, leaving the other to identify what it is. And we're going to cover that up. Actually, we've got several, and then I keep all of these in an envelope with this set so that I only do it once and I've got what I need. Okay, so let's see. So this one, next we're going to stamp the larger mason jar here. Okay, so making it further behind on the table, I've moved it up a little bit and it's overlapping. And while it's masked on the front, if I want to add an orange slice, here we go, down into the glass, I might as well do that while the mask is still on. There we go. And we've got our orange or lemon or lime slice here. So now we want to remove the mask so that this is overlapping, like it's on the rim. And our straw, We can put about there. Okay, and now we're ready to paint. So we've got all our colors spread out here. I'm going to clean up a bit of that color so that I have an area for my nice yellow. Dip into my well water here that's clean, especially on the yellows. Okay, so I might start with a bit of yellow, and then we're going to add some more of the gamboge color. Okay, and then for this, looks a little bit more of the peachy color. I'm going to get some of the scarlet, pre-mix the two. And we'll just do a quick wash across this whole area as well. The white areas are going to give me highlights that just make it more interesting. I'm not trying to color right up to every line. And let's see, next I made this be like a cherry lemonade or something over here. So we'll start with a light wash. Okay, this looks about right. And then we'll dip into the rose color and kind of bring that color up from the bottom area. And a little bit of color on our cherry. It's making me thirsty. Okay, and then this one is more of a watermelon. So I'm going to do a little bit of the scarlet with the rose. There for our watermelon. And while I've got this color, I think I'll add this on the straw, which of course could be any color you want it to be. We'll make it stripy. I'll add just a touch of this orangey red. Just a little bit of orange there. Here we need some green. Let's make this straw green this time. And this is where I should definitely lighten it as it goes down into the lemonade. Okay. And we want just a little bit of a blue here for our glassware. So maybe we'll do a little bit of blue top and bottom. Add a little bit of green back to the blue. And usually I do my shadows in a blue-gray, but if the light were really coming through all of these fruity drinks, maybe we need to do some shadows that are a little bit more like the reflected color you might see. So let's try this. That just looks almost green. It's on the light side, but let's... Okay, that's kind of fun. And on this one, we'll do a little bit more of the reddish color. And since it's up here where I mix my gray blacks, it sort of has some of that darker color to it. There we go. The Lovely Flowers sets has a lot of words that can be combined to make some unique little messages for your cards. And I'll let you play with some more of that yourself. But here let's do a bit more with the flowers in a range of different colors. And these flowers are simple enough that they could be any number of different types of flowers. So let's do some stamping and incorporate our ribbon. A ribbon stamp can be used just like that without masking anything. But let's try it over here. Make a double bow. For this one, I was able to put the center knot back together, and I cut some little masks so that if the ribbons are in front, I can cover them before I stamp the flowers. Get too much ink around the edges, clean it off. Okay, so now I can see to stamp on top of the bows. Okay. And in case like this one, I just extended some little lines like that to look like some more stems. Okay, and then with this one, we're going to stamp the flowers first. And I noticed here with that little stem, I think this would be a good time to wipe away the ink on that stem. And then kind of stamped it sideways here. Okay, and then here we will use one of the little masks. On the mask you can see as I place it here that I cut away that stem area as well. Flowers first, and then we'll use this as a vase. And there we go. Instead of ice cubes, we'll just make it a part of the design on the vase. Okay, we'll start with some yellows, and I will try to not talk much, and we'll just let this fast forward perhaps. create a line here of a tabletop just to help me see where I can paint. Since it's looking like polka dots, we're just going to do more of that. Okay. I had so much fun on this one covering up my boo-boo that I decided to try some other fun things, and I might as well turn the camera on and let you watch, and we'll see what happens here. My little shadow sort of faded away underneath my vase, so I'm just going to go back in and make that a little bit darker. Okay, and maybe I'll add another little touch of deep purple there. So here you can see I did some very loose washes that sort of look like polka dots. And so let's add some more to this one. I'm picking a color that will work with it. Let's try some blue ones here. Okay. And I'm just doing loose, random polka dots here. It's just kind of fun and playful. So as we'd referenced before, it took what may have been a minimal style and made it a whimsical style here simply by adding some big polka dots. And the splattering could give you a mixed media approach. So if you get some smudges that you're not happy with, it may give you the courage to take it a step further and have some playful fun. Let's try some scarlet here. Now on this one, the ribbon idea gave me an idea of something a little bit different to do a border of sorts, since my paper was quite large. And I'm simply going to do a loose sort of a frame. I don't need it to be straight. And I'm just holding my brush or to just use the tip. Okay, that's kind of fun. And I'll trim away a little bit more of the white. The Lovely Flowers set has a lot of little words, and you can create several different phrases with them. And let me just show you the grid paper in case you're having trouble putting different words together and lining them up. I'll turn the word over so that I can read it, the direction it's going. This one says enjoy a, and then here we have lovely. Actually, let's spread this one out. And you could see how we could make a long strip with it. So get it lined up on the grid. And then take a block and lift them all together. And then you definitely want to check what you've got. And I'm working on some scrap paper here anyway. Okay, so anyway, the grid system may be helpful to you, and other times you might cut out each little word and then position those as well. So while I have it set up, I might as well stamp a couple of them here. And there's a little hello in the set. So you have everyday and birthday and friendship greetings. So take a look at the gallery to see how we've incorporated the messages into the cards.